So we're down at the OTC today with Tris. Can you let us know what we've been up to today?
Yep, so we've basically been out on the biplanche, which is sort of a catamaran windsurfer, and we've been teaching Craig and Liam a little bit of windsurfing, although Craig is pretty proficient, so it's less of teaching and more trying to keep up with him.
So you said they were out on the biplanche. Can you tell us a little bit about that setup, how you put it together, the tweaks and things you made to it?
Sure, so the setup itself is pretty straightforward. It's very easy to put together. Two windsurfing hulls, ideally identical, and then you connect it with a central fuselage, which sort of goes into the mast track, and it's sort of articulated so you can move, the boards can move freely as they windsurf along. The trick to it really, to make sure that it's still manoeuvrable, is just use one fin on one of the boards, and then it just means it has enough traction going forward, so it's very directional, but actually you can turn fairly easily as well.
With the sails you're using on that, any sort of specific sail size, or what's the easiest thing you found?
So with Craig, he's obviously very experienced with windsurfing, but basically with him is obviously the sort of has less sort of body weight really, and less leverage. So for him, using a soft, progressive, easy sail, what we've got there is a Dacron sail that breathes nice and easily, so there's a progressive power rather than instantaneous power. So it gives him a chance to sort of contend with that extra power. Also with the boom cutout, we've got the one with as lower boom cutout as we can, but we're just waiting for actually a kiddie rig, so it has a really low boom cutout, and actually from then, whilst he's sitting down, it'll actually be more manageable for him. So try to make a sail that has it's quite low aspect rather than a high aspect, so if it's too high, it's got too much leverage and it'll pull him onto the stumps, but actually being able to lean back against it and control it, that's kind of the key thing in that sail.
Yeah, I got into sport because my dad windsurfed, and kind of forced me into it, basically.
As all good windsurfing parents do?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you just got into it, loved it as a kid, and did it.
The only kid in school that did it, and then I felt like kind of gave me an edge on everyone else, like doing something that nobody else does. So, well, yeah, not only is it something that nobody else does, it's really good. So yeah, I stuck at it.
Cool. And then you obviously had an accident a few years ago. Could you maybe tell us a little bit about that, what happened, and then how you kind of carried on your windsurfing afterwards?
Yeah, when I was 17 I joined the army, because I quite like an active lifestyle. I joined the infantry. When I was 18 I got sent to Afghanistan. I got injured at 18, and then 2 years later, after I got walking again and everything like that, just called my dad up and he was like, yeah, Dad, we're off windsurfing, let's do it. And he was like, yeah, all right, yeah. So we did it, got up on windsurfing, which is really good. Like, that was a really big step in my recovery. Yeah.
So when you said, obviously it sounds pretty simple the way you just said it there, just wanted to get back up on windsurfing again. Obviously it was going to be a little bit different to the time you went windsurfing before that. Was there things you had to change? Like, did you use the same equipment, or what did you actually kind of have to think about to get out on the water?
So it was one of my sails from when I was young, and I started at 3.2, and I was quite adamant that I wanted to be on my legs.
Yeah.
It's just a psychological thing for me. I wanted to be on my legs. And then I tried standing up using the up oar, could not do it at all, like any way, shape or form. And my dad just said, just sit down and do it and then stand up afterwards. He's like, just that little bit of like, all right, yeah, actually that's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Did it, got up and standing after that, which is great. And that's how I windsurf now. I sit down, up oar, and then stand up whenever I can, which is great. But yeah, there were quite a lot of little things that needed doing. There was putting extra string on the up oar so I could put a hook in to use overhands up oaring, making sure the boom's low enough, because I'm sat down and like I'm reaching up, and yeah, it's just things like that, stopping my hands slipping down the boom and things like that. I mean, the board was completely fine, which is good.
So it sounds like, I mean, from what you've just said and what we've seen with the gear you were using, that you're pretty much using standard equipment, just with a few little tweaks, a few little things changed, like you said, the knots, the added things, which is actually stuff that seems really, really simple to do. And it was just a case of you figuring out what works for you, making these tiny changes, and then it was good to go. Was that
That
right?
was it, yeah. Because me and my dad thought that the board would be fine. So we left the board out of it and just rigged a sail. Got it on land and was like, right, if I can do it on land, I'll pick it up on land, I'll be able to pick it up on water.
And you said it was obviously quite a big sort of help to your recovery. What did it mean to be able to be back windsurfing again and be out on the water? And like, can you remember that feeling of when you were up?
It was really good. Actually, the first time I stood up, I dropped straight off the board and got up like really, really happy with myself. Like, gave a big whoop. My dad thought I'd hurt myself, and he's like, "You all right? You all right?" He's like, "I'm fine.
Just
I'm good. I'm very good." And he's like, "All right." That was the point. That was the only thing I had to do. That because I do everything that I could do now.
Yeah.
I play guitar. I can climb stairs. Everything. And the windsurfing was the one big thing.
Yeah.
Having done that now, it's just like, well, yeah, that's a big step.
Big tick in the box. And...
Yeah.
Okay, so Liam, can you tell us a little bit about your eye condition and the sports and things you've done through your childhood up until now?
Okay, so I was born with an eye condition called retinitis pigmentosa. It's a hereditary condition, so it came through my family. It's progressive as well, so it will continue to get worse until my eyesight completely goes. So I got into sport through sailing when I went to Worcester Blind College. So I went into blind sailing there, and I progressed on to Paralympic sailing, and that takes me to here really.
Okay, and then you've recently started to windsurf. I believe you've had just a couple of sessions out on the water so far. What made you want to give windsurfing a go?
Well, I've always grown up around the water, lived near the beach, anything on the water I wanted to get involved with, and windsurfing is one of the things I probably haven't done. So I thought, this looks really good fun, so I'll give it a go. And it's really good fun, so it's the best thing.
Awesome. So you said before that you've been out on the water loads, tried lots of sports. Is there any particular reason you didn't try windsurfing before?
More of a solo sport. It doesn't lend itself to visually impaired normally. So I've sailed in crews where I'm not in charge of where I'm going. So there's a bit of a barrier there in terms of windsurfing, but as long as I've got someone near me or I know where I'm going, then it's absolutely fine. It's not been a problem at all. Everyone's very helpful, and if you can just say to them, I might need someone to follow, or just tell me where some obstacles are, and I can remember that, and that's absolutely fine. And when I got on the water, it didn't seem to be a problem at all.
Okay, so when you came down, like you've been out on the water today, was there anything you said to your instructor? Was it literally, as you just said now, to get someone to sort of stay close to you?
As long as they're close to me, that's what I said. Just stay close to me, and I can always see you. And that's absolutely no problem at all. I'm not going to crash into anyone. So.
Perfect. And then how did it feel when you're actually out on the water? I know you said you'd done sailing before, but what did you enjoy about being out windsurfing?
It's great being in charge where the board actually goes compared to sailing. I'm on a crew.
Yeah.
Someone else always steering because not to lend itself to visual impairment. But yeah, it was great. It felt awesome to have the sense of actually freedom and get out there and go where I want to go. It's really good.
And is there any other bits and pieces of advice you'd give to maybe the instructors or the schools? I know you maybe mentioned something before about certain colours of sails helping, or is there anything else like that you can think of?
It completely depends on different eye conditions, but for me, a contrasting sail, if it's a sunny day and you've got blue water, blue skies, then a lighter colour sail, like a light yellow or a light orange, be perfect for me.
Okay.
Whereas in a cloudy day, I want something a bit darker, that contrasts a bit more. So it's really dependent on the person, but for me, that's what I have to explain to someone just before I turned up.
Yeah.
And like the same with everyone else, just talk to them.
Just say, so would that be your advice then, if to an instructor or to anyone that wants to learn, to just go there and ask?
Yeah,
and just
be honest, what you can see, what you can't see, and everyone's so willing to help. No one's going to make it hard for you, are they?
Yeah.
So everyone wants to help normally, so that's definitely advice.
Instructors know exactly how to sail, so they're going to know what you should be able to do, able-bodied.
Yeah.
They'll be able to look at you and just be like, for me, for example, they're like, well, you can't grab a rope, like two hands. Well, put a knot in it. I will be able to. And it is just overcoming the little things that you think are a problem.
What would you say to anybody else that might be in your position or in a similar position to you, regardless if they've windsurfed before or not, what kind of advice would you give them if they wanted to get out and give it a go? And
just get out and do it. You're never going to know what you can't do unless you try. So there's no point sitting there going, oh, that looked great. Well, go and do it, it is great. Like, sit on a board, even if you're just sitting on a board and standing up on the board on the water, you've got a little bit of a feel for it.
Yeah.
Or even if you're just putting up a sail on land, you've got a bit of a feel for it. It's all little steps that are going to help you get on the water eventually. So yeah, and like, it's tried and tested, it's doable.
Okay, so obviously you've been out on the water windsurfing, you've had an amazing time. What would be your advice if somebody else wanted to get out and give it a go as well?
Well, if they look up their local RYA Sailability Centre and give them a call or drop them an email, I'm sure they'll get you out on the water.